China's economic growth has slowed for the past 2 quarters, but the world's second largest economy is aiming for higher quality growth, according to an emerging market expert. China's growth for the first quarter this year was 7.7%, and in the second quarter, or the April to June period, growth slipped to 7.5%. Its GDP growth target for the entire 2013 is 7.5%. This is a world of difference from the double-digit growth China used to boast in the past.
We are in this period where China is downshifting to a structurally lower path of growth. For this year and for next year, we're looking at on average around about 7%. So we're really expecting that floor in terms of growth to be maintained. And sort of what is happening right now in the last sort of few quarters is really this process of China moving to slower growth, but ultimately higher quality growth.
China has recently promised to transform its economy through reforms and measures to tackle its environmental problems, such as air pollution. As the economic giant is reportedly the world's biggest contributor to greenhouse gas emission by volume. However, giving priority to the environment might have a toll on its growth.
What is changing is where the investment spending is taking place. So fixed asset investment, which was a very important part of growth in China previously, this is now changing. And so there's a greater focus on environmental projects, water projects, essentially to make China grow cleaner, greener. And this is simply going to mean that, of course, it's a very positive thing, but it also means slower growth. So the previous model, which was very sort of, purely export and fixed asset investment driven, was also essentially, more polluting.
The emerging markets economist said China recognized it had to move away from this model, a move which has resulted in a transitory period with slower growth. Additionally, Hover said China's growth currently comes from its strong consumers, as the country has about $1 trillion per year in retail sales. Domestic demand is strong and wages are rising. Meanwhile, China's role among its regional neighbors ahead of the ASEAN Economic Community will be important.
This is a region which is growing, and so Chinese investors or Chinese companies will be really excited about that and want to sort of gain access to this. So I think really more broadly speaking, it's going to be a much more integrated region than it was before, and China is playing a very big role in that.
He said he expected more investment across the borders and companies looking for opportunities in China and outside China, including Indonesia, Thailand, and the Philippines. Additionally, the emerging markets expert said China's role as a major commodity importer from the rest of Asia and as an exporter into final destinations, particularly in G3 economies, including the United States, Europe, and Japan, will not change anytime soon. Weena Tongprasit reports.